diversify or specialize your skill set? It's a it's a huge question, especially when you think about branding and creativity. Should you go super in depth on one thing and make that your brand and your identity? Or should you go broad and should you do everything? And if you're like me, when you started out, you were alone. So you felt like you had to do everything. And maybe it still feels like you need to do everything. And if so, I totally understand that. But what I want to say right now, and what I wish I could have told myself sooner, is that you should think about what everything means. So, what do I mean with this? Let me go back to a discussion I had with a close friend a while back. She is starting her own jewelry brand, and we had a chat about marketing, sound identity, branding, and all of those things. And one thing that we were discussing was that she had this idea of starting a podcast. And the interesting thing is, a few years back ago, I had the same idea. I should start a podcast. But I decided not to because a podcast is totally, it's another project to deal with. And some people spend all their time doing a podcast as their end goal. So for me, it felt like it would compete with my time and my effort. And I felt and I believe that it would do for her as well. Instead of spending time on the jewelry brand, she would have to promote the podcast. And for most people, a podcast is the end product. But in her case, a jewelry, but someone buying the jewelry would be the end product. So the marketing would compete instead. And this is what I mean with doing everything. You can define what everything is in a more narrow way, if that makes sense. Think about what is the everything that actually helps me go in the direction I need. Let me give you another example. When I started out with music, a big inspiration for me was Tomorrowland, this huge electronic festival, and they had this amazing, they still have these amazing stages with light shows and everything. So when I had my first gig, or in that area of first gigs, I thought I need to figure out a cool visual setup as well. So I bought two cheap LED lights and software to control the LED lights so I could do some lightning show, and I spent so much time programming for every note, every single, second of that song. And when I got to the performance, they had this huge setup of lightning, smoke machines, and everything. And my setup just looked amateurish. And I lost time rehearsing for that performance. I didn't play the best song I could because I spent time on the visuals instead. And as a musician, if you're a musician or a producer, you might need to have many hats. You might need to be the producer, the mixing engineer, the mastering engineer, the songwriter, the marketing person. But which ones of the roles that you have taken on do you actually need, and which ones do you not need? In my case, I don't think that I would have needed to be a VJ. I didn't need to do visuals. Even if I needed to do everything with music, that thing was competing with my goal as becoming an artist instead of of helping me get there. And I'm not saying it was totally worthless. I I got so it was very fun and it was exciting, but it was not the most valuable thing. I don't think that should have been a part of my I need to do everything. Another example is I've seen troubadours and musicians bring their own sound system to small clubs to do the quizzes and stuff. And I thought, oh, I need to do that as well. I need to have the entire package, if you will. So I started researching sound systems and bought my own sound system. And I haven't had a single gig that has been, you know, a necessary gig for my career where I have needed my own sound system. That was a unnecessary spend of resources, of time, money. Once again, something that was in the that shouldn't have been in my everything. So, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that I think that you, as a creative person or someone trying to achieve your goal, and you feel that you have to have many hats on, think about what hats sort of help you get in the direction you want and actually help you, and what hats actually compete with the direction you're going. And maybe those hats make you feel productive. I felt very productive and busy when I was doing the visuals and when I was looking at sound systems. And because I was productive, I felt like I was doing the best things for my career. Because it's very easy to correlate being productive, be, being busy with being productive and doing the best thing. But I just encourage you to think about, what do I actually need to do to get the fastest in the direction I want to go? What is your everything right now and what isn't? So that you can prioritize. And I'm not saying that you it's very difficult, to do everything. I'm not saying that you should not do things that you feel like you need to do, and I'm not saying that it's as easy as prioritizing, because it is tricky being a one-man team. I'm just saying I recommend you to be mindful of where you put your energy and effort so that you're actually productive instead of just busy. All right, take care. Have a good one. Stay creative.